Hi everyone, this is Diana and welcome back to my channel. It's summer, so today we're going to be painting some watercolor ice cream cones. We'll use the wet on wet method to get some great effects in our paintings. You'll need a basic watercolor set that has a red, green, and a light brown like burnt sepia and a darker brown like burnt umber. Plus 2 sheets of watercolor paper and a number 1, 2, or 3 brush. Start by wetting your brush and getting a small amount of red pigment. I'm using cadmium red here. Make a dome shape kind of like a mushroom cap, but leave some empty space that isn't wet. The empty space will serve as highlights for the ice cream. This layer should be very light and transparent. Next, add a base to the ice cream scoop. This is where the ice cream will meet the cone. This is optional, but you can also add one more scoop base to make it look like the scoop is on top of another scoop. I know it's still really light, but you'll see it better when we add more color in the next step. Now we're going to do some wet on wet. This time I'm using a lot more red pigment. Wet on wet is all about letting go of control, so you kind of just drop the paint and let it move freely on the paper. Now you really get to see the empty spaces that will serve as the highlights for the ice cream scoop. Next, right underneath the ice cream scoop, I'm outlining the cone with burnt sepia. You can use any light brown you have. Then fill in the cone shape. Remember that watercolors dry lighter and sometimes much lighter than when the paint is wet. Once the first layer is dry, we'll add the waffle texture using the burnt umber or your choice of dark brown. I follow the side of the cone and make little squares down the length. Keep going until you've filled up the cone with the little squares. I also like to add a little seam for where the waffle cone folds over. I also take a moment to darken some of the squares that seem a little light. And we're all done with our first ice cream painting. Next we'll paint some mint chocolate chip ice cream, this time on top of a cake cone, the kind with the flat bottom. Here I'm using sap green with a fair amount of water for my first layer. Like with the first ice cream, I'm still leaving some empty space for highlights. Next I'll drop in more green until it's dark enough. Under the scoop, I'll add the top of the cake cone. Once that's done, I'll outline the bottom of the cake cone with the burnt sepia or light brown. And then fill in the cone with the same color. Then add your waffle texture and use the same dark brown or burnt umber for the chocolate chips. Use very little water for the chocolate chips to keep them very dark. And there we have it, 2 different ways to paint ice cream cones. You can even add some lettering to make a greeting card to send to someone special. Hope you enjoyed the video. Coming up is a popsicle tutorial, which I'll post in the coming week. See you in the next video.